We are privileged to have, today we are going international, at least inter-Africa. And so we begin with one of the forefront people in terms of worship music in the continent. And if you know of him, you've probably heard of his song, Imela. And so Nathaniel Bassey is with us in studio. Thank you for joining us and coming to speak to us.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine.
Is this your first time in Kenya?
No. I was here last year.
Yes, it is. Now, maybe just tell us, for us in Kenya especially, Imela was a big song, still is. Like I was telling you earlier, it's sung in many churches in the present worship. Was this your breakthrough song? You know how an artist may have done many songs, but the one that really throws into the limelight? Or is it just for us Kenyans who didn't know you as much?
Well, I maybe internationally, more on a larger scope, Imela was that song, but I was around, just pretty much just before then, was known in Nigeria and some parts of Africa, but I think Imela just had that cross, country, and just had that grace to cross boundaries and cultures. And
right.
so.
And how long have you been doing music?
Just a little over 25 years.
Wow, a little over 25 years. There's people who are performing here today and have not even 25 years probably. So, why music for you? You're trained in political science, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah, politics and international relations.
Yes.
Music is a calling for me. I would say I didn't choose music, music chose me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a little child. I mean, you know how the hand of the Lord is upon you for that. So we had some music at home, but not professionally. But then I guess God just wanted me to just tread that path. So we had a trumpet at home. I began to learn, with my dad, and the next thing was I was in the church choir, and then I became the drummer boy, and then I was playing standards in some jazz bands, and I began to grow, and the rest is history.
So you taught yourself, or did you have someone training you in terms of the instruments?
I just learned with my dad. Both of us were novices from the beginning. We just, how God just taught you, but then I had some formal training by the way as I went. But from the first day I handled the trumpet, I was playing. But prior to that, I was playing the drums. I was singing in the children's choir, and then I sort of just had an affinity for the trumpet. So I started studying, and the rest is.
All right. And so, for instance, in Kenya, there's a lot of conversations about how some music is not considered to be as gospel music. People saying it's becoming a commercialized field as more and more gospel artists, try to have music and ministry that's relevant to, the masses, which some may say they're called to. For you, what have you done? What have you done such that we can even, those who may be struggling with that possibly can borrow from there to ensure that, your ministry and your music remains rooted and is above reproach?
Well, when I teach in worship conferences, I'm very deliberate to make that distinction. There's music ministry and there's music industry. I mean, I remember saying that the Lord, called me. It's a calling, and when it's a calling, it becomes a ministry. All right, it becomes music becomes a tool first to serve the Lord, to minister to Him, and then His people, and then. Because it's spiritual music, it's holy music, it's anointed music, it has to flow from a place of relationship. So beyond just making music, I think our lives should be the music. So I would say for music that you can't find a distinction whether it's gospel or music. Many times it's down to the person. Okay, is there a relationship with God? Is there because it's an overflow of our love walk with the Lord. So once that relationship is there, then He defines everything. So that for me has been my driving force. That music is only a tool to express my love to the Lord and also to express God to the world. So that defines what I do and the limit and the extent to which I do that.
Right. And so how then do you handle a situation where you're called and they're, talking about a red card, and for you it's really your ministry, and for people who are in ministry would feel for some events, you'd go and you can even do it pro bono because you feel it's fine. but some would say, no, until you pay me, I'm not going to come. So how then do you get that balance?
Yeah, if we begin on that, we'll never go home. I mean, every time I post on music and money, I mean, I have debates, hot debates. There are people who feel, you know, music ministers should be paid, and there are others who feel they shouldn't be paid. I mean, I've written extensively on that. I would, just for the time we have, I would always say to people that your ministry must be driven by your revelation, your personal revelation. I mean, I had an encounter with the Lord, and He gave me specific instructions on how to do that, and I don't, as a matter of commandment, place that on other people. I mean, I've always thought that as they grew in their walk with the Lord, they will find, okay, their own path to tread. But I mean, I believe that as long as music remains for the gospel musician a tool to minister unto the Lord and then His people, then you can easily sort out those arguments, and it's not something I want to go in.
Okay, fine. And you've said it's not your first time in Kenya, so what has brought you to Kenya this time? Yes,
I'm here for, it's a very loaded weekend with the RCCG Solution Center at the Mbagathi Way. Did I get it?
You got it right.
Mbagathi. So it's been pastored by Pastor Prince and Esther Obasike. I mean, great man and woman of God. It started tonight, and we're going to have another session tomorrow from 2 to 5, and then there's a Sunday service which is open to everyone, and then the grand finale is in the evening from 3, I believe, till late in the evening. I mean, early in the evening. So we had an awesome time tonight. The presence of the Lord was strong. We created an atmosphere for Him to inhabit. And like I said tonight, we're building something. It's a climax. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, you want to just go to the Facebook page of Solution Center, RCCG, get their Twitter handle, their Facebook page, and I'm sure you get all the information.
All right. And you live on Monday?
Yes, I live on Monday.
What's your experience in Kenya been like? Especially compared to how Nigeria is in terms of just the lifestyle that you have observed?
Well, I said this evening that Kenyans are direct opposites. The average Nigerian is intense, very aggressive. But then you come and you're meeting the Kenyans so soft, and I'm wondering, are these guys okay?
I'm not sure which Kenyans you met.
No. Apart from your bus and taxi drivers, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
What happened in the taxi?
They actually look like Nigerians. They're in a hurry. They're impatient, and But the I think the marriage of the two cultures, Nigeria and Kenya. I mean, I said tonight that there was a prophetic word by a great man of God saying that there was going to be a move of God in Africa, to herald the coming of the Lord, and Nigerians and Kenyans will be at the forefront. So, I mean, you're having Nigerians from the other extreme and Kenyans from the other, positive and negative. So coming together to do something. And I'm sure that meetings like this are part of, those signs, where we're coming to synergize to, release a sound of revival.
All right. And how vast are you with Kenyan music? Do you listen to any Kenyan music? And if so, who are some of the artists who for you have stood out?
I know Emmy.
Okay.
Yeah, Emmy, she lives in Nigeria now.
Yes.
And we were recording something together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were working on something, but I think we became busy. We're trying to do a Swahili version of Elohim. So,
okay.
So we recorded already. We had some sessions. But, I mean, if there's time, we'll probably revisit that again and make it a Kenyan, Nigerian sound.
All right, that's Emmy Koski, just in case anyone was wondering which Emmy this is, just to be sure. And is there any other artist probably you'd like to do? I know sometimes you see artists who come from abroad and they're Kenyans who will probably snatch an opportunity to do a collabo with, for instance. Is there any who's approached you, or is there any that you'd be interested in?
Oh, I mean, I think backstage I spoke to Ibel. I mean, he's Zambian.
Yes.
You know, and we're already getting along. I think this young man's got stuff. So, well, we'll see. He'll keep coming around, and as the Lord leads, I mean, as a principle, I don't do collabos for collabos' sake. I just feel that the Lord leads us. There's a purpose, and you know, it's beyond just okay. Let's get out there. It should be to achieve the mandate of heaven, to say, okay, this is why we're doing it, is to achieve this purpose. And when I find that, I'm always ready to go along.
All right, thank you. I mean, that's really good insight, because you'd find that people who will do collabos just for marketing purposes largely. You know, not so much because like you said, there's a kingdom purpose. Because I think if I did a song with Nathaniel, I'd actually...
Yeah, it's more or less, it's a platform to just, you know, get more visible and all. And you know, with worship, motive is everything. If your motive is wrong, your worship is wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we could now actually get to listen to you play the trumpet. We've heard about it. So even as he prepares to get his instrument and, you know, do for us some music, and maybe we got some feedback from social media.
Yes, quite some feedback here, Dan. People are in spirit. Eric Kogi here says, spiritual nourishment at its best. Hallelujah. Hashtag the trend fellowship. And then Brenda Oganga here says, the difference between gospel industry and gospel ministry in Kenya is a big challenge. Hashtag the trend fellowship. And then we have here Bobby Simon, who says, hashtag the trend fellowship. Nika niko kesha tonight, blessed by Guardian Angels performance. And then another one here by Alex Michen, who says, well, Ladimadeo, ati sasa umeanza the trend fellowship. Sasa sadaka tutatoa sangapi? I think Pastor Dan will give us mwelekeo.
That one, we'll put the number scrolling at the bottom of the screen at some point. We are still typing it out.
So kwa hiyo seed waeke seed kama ya pesa ngapi hivi?
Hiyo seed, lakini sio ile ya return. Tuendelee.
Mbegu kidogo hivi tupande. And then Naomi Cheriri, who says, yay, can't get my eyes off the trend fellowship, Leo. So looking forward to all that. And trust me, you will get all that here. And then lastly here from Amy Tracy, who says, Dan Mwangi, your spoken word is on point on matters of the trend fellowship. Who is Guardian Angel? I think he will tell us that himself.
Very good. Yeah, Guardian Angel at introduce. He'll tell us what his story. He's got a very amazing story, and so we are going to get into that a bit later on, and Anne will give us some more feedback as we go along. We are glad you're enjoying the trend fellowship. When you're nasmanikani kesha, tendele mpaka kesho. So now Nathaniel, I think, should be ready to bless us with some music.